the goal of this entire exercise is to reach out with the spread of hematology knowledge across the country. And it is important that the MBBS students get used to the terminologies and the factors which are affecting in hematology. I would say one of the fastest growing specialties in medicine today is hematology oncology, with a lot of genetics and the molecular level of treatment coming in. Of course, many of you are aware of the CAR T cells. Except in thrombosis, I think almost all the malignancies now it is coming in hematological malignancies, and the data is compiling in the positive direction. So we have Dr. Arun, next slide, from PGI Chandigarh. He's an army man. So he's an army man with us, who's also happens to be a Ranji Trophy player, a cricketer, a team player, I must say. This is the second time we are having his privilege of having him with us, along with Dr. Harpreet from PGI.
Good evening, everyone. Myself, Jashwantni SP, final year student from Sri Satya Sai Medical College in Chenkalpet, Tamil Nadu. So it's really a great privilege for me to join you for the second time for the CMC quiz. I'm really eager to looking forward for the good evening.
Good evening, everyone. I am Arunishwar from Tanjavur Medical College, and it has always been, actually this event was announced last year itself. At the end of the session, sir announced that he also announced there will be a quiz related to thrombosis. Actually, we were awaiting for it in a couple of months, but it had been a year. So it's a long wait, but I think because the wait was worth it, and we enjoyed the prelims, and I think looking forward for the great event ahead.
This is Saravanan, third year MBBS student from Chikmagalur.
So during MBBS days, you have exposure to hematology. You get attached to some of the postings, or like how come you are?
It's the medicine postings.
Okay. Yeah.
And medicine theory classes.
Oh, great. Welcome you on board.
I'm Jayakrishna, and I'm also from the same batch as Saravanan. I'm also a third year student, and
I think JIPMER is producing some finest talent here. That's great to know. So we have two budding hematologists from the same batch. That's really good to know.
Good evening, sir. Sir, I'm Soumya Tathagat. I'm from IMS BHU. Sir, I'm excited and nervous at the same time. And so my interest is in neurology, sir, neuromedicine.
So beginning with the first round of ours, I would rather focus on this round, which is the antiquity round. Okay, so it's about legends and amusements. We would go through history, and there is a lot of trivia involved. And like trivia, it's all about the presence of mind here. The question may look lengthy, it may look complex, but the answers are very simple. Most of it is hidden within the slide. So all I try to tell you is just be around. It's all about presence of mind here. It's actually nothing else. It's with switch play here. Okay. So we move from participant A to E here. There will be 15 seconds for a direct question. Please note this, that only the participant being asked the direct question is to answer first. And remember that all others are to enter yes, that is YES, as soon as possible in the chat box. Okay, if you want to answer the question. So we have a dummy here, so maybe we can go through that. So it's about the direct participant coming out with the answer at the end of 15 seconds. The others have to type yes, because we'll go by the fastest fingers first. Okay, so if the participant failed to answer the direct question, the person who has typed yes first in the box will be given the opportunity to answer, and then it passes if the answer is incorrect. So the marks for correctly answering a direct question is going to be 30 and 15 for past questions. However, if the answer is wrong after entering yes, you earn a -5. So here you end up scoring a maximum of, I would say, like 6 questions. So that will be 90 points here. So, and if you end up losing all, that will be 30 points. So that's okay. There is nothing much at stake here. Just feel free. So we'll go to the dummy question. Can I have the next slide, please? Yeah. So this is the dummy question. So this is not to be scored. So feel free. This is for you to be getting comfortable with the system here. Okay. So this is about identifying X here. Okay. So what is X? X is a diagram which we often use to predict the genotypes of a particular cross or a breeding experiment. It is named after Mr. X, who devised this approach in the late 19th century. And the diagram continues to be used in every single book of biology or medicine. And this actually determines the probability of an offspring having a particular genotype. I want Soumya to answer this because this is a repeat of the question we had last time. So Soumya, this is a direct question for you. So you have the answer. Your time starts now.
It is a Punnett square.
So can I have?
This is Punnett square.
Yeah, perfect. That's how it is. So that's good. So can I have the next slide, please? So this is the Punnett square, and it's named after Reginald Punnett, who actually came out with this concept. So I think you are aware of this. I just want you to type out in the chat box. Did anyone type out? Yeah, I think most of you have done that. So we move to the final one now. We'll go to the direct questions now. So we begin with the first round with the next question. Can I have the next slide, please? Yeah, so Soumya, this is a direct question for you, and your time starts when I finish reading the question. Okay, so carefully read the question, make use of whatever data is available on the slide. So among the many useful discoveries which this age has made, there are very few which better deserve the attention of public than what I'm going to lay before you, Lordship. These were the prophetic words about a drug A for rheumatism written by Reverend Edward Stone in a letter to George Parker. And this was about the first clinical trial recorded in medical history. We have a cold eye company here named C who dismissed the market potential of A on the ground that it had an enfeebling action on the heart. But however, the real reason for ignoring A was the preoccupation with the sales potential of another new drug which had just been launched as a cough remedy. However, there was someone wise in the company who, however, felt that this was discovery of A single-handedly transformed C into a pharmaceutical giant. Currently, 40,000 tons of A are produced every year worldwide to save millions of lives annually. Soumya, I think you are participant A. Your time starts now.
Sir, am I audible? Hello?
Yeah, you are Soumya. If you have an answer, tell me now.
Sir, is it aspirin?
Time is up. So that's perfect. So that you answered the first part of the question. So that is about identifying the drug A. So that gives you half the marks, that is 15 marks. But I want you to answer the second part. So you have the answer to the second part, which is what is C here. What is the cold eye company, which later on went on to be a pharmaceutical giant who actually marketed aspirin and earned billions?
No, sir, I don't know about that.
Okay, so I think I would go to the other team members who can actually answer that. I see a couple of S's here. Aruneshwar, I think you have marked yes. Do you have an answer for that, Aruneshwar?
So the drug is A, sir. The drug A is aspirin.
Yeah, so that was discussed here. So it's not about the drug anymore. So drug is aspirin, perfect. But I want you to tell me the company's name. So I think we don't have an answer from anyone. So the company is Bayer, B-A-Y-E-R. Okay? The company is B-A-Y-E-R, Bayer. Yeah,
sir,
we go.
Sir, I have bounced first. I have bounced for this question.
Yeah?
I have bounced for this question, sir.
Okay, Sarvanan had found for this question. Okay. I didn't see that response because it came at 623. Okay. And you knew the answer?
So, aspirin and Bayer.
Yeah. So I would not give marks for that. I think we'll keep the Quizmaster's decision final here. So we'll move on to the next question. So we'll give half the marks for Soumya and no marks for this question which was passed. Yeah. So we move to the next question.
Sir, just a clarification. So if we attend it by typing yes, and if we get the part correct and part wrong, do we get a negative or a 0?
No. So I would say I would not give a negative in that case. Okay. Part question. If it is a full question, yes. So we would give that. Okay. So we move to the next question. Yeah. So this is a direct question to B, the participant B. Participant B, are you ready? Jaswantini?
Yes, sir.
You're already
Hello?
typing yes, no in the box now. I don't know. You should not
No,
do that.
sir. No, sir. Not now, sir. It was
Okay.
old question.
Okay. Okay. So has Sarvanan typed yes now? Can you just confirm,
Yes, sir.
Sarvanan?
Yes, sir. I have typed.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, so this Jaswanthan is a direct question for you. This is in 1924, Moshkovitz describes the case of a 16-year-old girl admitted to a hospital in New York City who dies within 2 weeks of an abrupt onset of fever, petechiae, pallor, followed by paralysis and coma. Read the question completely and carefully. So Moshkovitz did suspect that the disease A was due to a powerful poison with agglutinative and hemolytic properties. Until the 90s, the etiology of A remained unknown and more than 90% would succumb to the disease. But 1985 was a landmark time when the presence of large amounts of X was demonstrated within the thrombi of autopsy cases of A. 13 years later, a severe functional deficiency of an enzyme Y modifying X was demonstrated to be responsible for A. In 2001, gene cloning and protein sequencing analysis was used to reveal the identity of Y. And as of 2019, we have a monoclonal antibody Z, which is now approved for A. I want you to tell me what is X and Y only and nothing else. Because if you are going to tell me something else, it might help others in the podium. Okay, so please stick to what is X and Y. Jaswantini, you have your time starts
Hello.
now.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, is it audible, sir?
Yeah, you are audible.
Hello.
Yeah, Jaswantini, you are audible. Kindly come out with your answer.
Sir, is the antibody Z caplazumab and the disease is TTP? So the enzyme. Hello.
No,
Hello?
I would not give you marks for that because that was not my question here. So I would go on to Sarvanan, who first said yes. Sarvanan, you have to answer both X and Y.
Sir.
Okay.
X is von Willebrand factor and Y is Adam TS13. The disease is TTP
No.
and the monoclonal antibody is caplazumab.
Perfect. So that was the perfect answer. So X is von Willebrand factor and Y is Adam TS13. I would give you a complete 15 here because you have answered both parts correctly. I didn't ask about the disease. The disease was a straightforward question. It's about testing the concepts here. So the answer is X is von Willebrand factor and Y is Adam TS13. It's a pass question, so he gets 15. Yeah, we move to the next question. The third direct question, and the participant now is Aruneshwar.
Yes, sir.
Now I think you're conversant with the rules. Aruneshwar, listen to the question directly. So,
Yes, sir.
yeah. So, what I want to ask you is, in 1940, two pediatricians described this entity, which bears the name for the first time in an infant with a rapidly expanding capillary hemangioma and coagulopathy requiring immediate amputation. Since then, the eponym has wrongly been associated with a few case scenarios. Nonetheless, in 1997, two groups of investigators, through clinicopathological correlation, said and documented that A is uniquely restricted to these two tumors. My question is, can you name the complete diagnosis of this rapidly progressive coagulopathy with mortality rates of 30 to 40%?
Is it Kasabach-Merritt syndrome?
Perfect. 30 for you, Aruneshwar. This is Kasabach-Merritt phenomenon or Kasabach-Merritt syndrome. Perfect 30 for you. Excellent going. Yeah, we move on to the fourth question. Next question, please. Yeah, so this is question D, and this would go for the fourth participant here. So carefully read the question. You need to identify the drug Y here. So this is about a serendipitous discovery by two doctors, one being the mentor and other is student. So the mentor here is Dr. William, and who would actually describe this experiment, which I'm going to describe to you, followed years later by his own student, who are going to actually lay a sound foundation for the use of Y in saving billions of lives. So Y was isolated from cultures of bacteria X by Tillett, and Sherry would go on to discover the therapeutic potential of Y in a common medical emergency. So we have three test tube racks. If you see, they are numbered 1, 2, and 3. The number 1 is actually oxalated human plasma alone in each of the test tubes A to E with cultures of bacteria X in test tubes D and E only. You can easily make out there is clot formation in all the tubes in panel 2 upon adding calcium. But to his dismay, what actually Tillett found out, a week later, if you leave the system in place, there is dissolution of clots in test tubes D and E, which actually contain cultures of X. So it's simple analogy, and that's how they describe this drug X or Y. So you need to tell me what the drug Y here. So it's a straight question here.
Drug Y, whether it's streptokinase, X is group C beta hemolytic streptococcus.
So perfect answer. So that's a perfect answer. That's how streptokinase was discovered. I give you a 30 here, but let me warn you, it is not beta hemolytic streptococci. It is streptococci anginosus, which is now the least immunogenic of the streptococci, which would give us user-friendly streptokinase. Okay, so read more completely, but that's an excellent answer. It's one of our tough questions we had. Good. Keep going. Great going. We come to the final participant here. Jayakishan, are you ready? Or are you tired out? Jayakishan, the direct question for you. So read again, utilize the clues which you have in the picture. So yeah, so already people have typed in the chat box. We have very sharp wizards here. So my question is about protein X of the coagulation cascade, which was discovered by Dr. Rosemary Biggs and R.G. McFarlane in Oxford while evaluating this 5-year-old boy with bleeding diathesis in 1952. Both the protein X and the disease was named after him. So X was employed as a medical photographer, but he chose to become a cab driver subsequently and continued to live in Canada, and he would continue to campaign all his life for blood transfusion safety until succumbing to transfusion-related HIV, which probably did not have any cure at that time. Just before the Christmas on 20th December 1993 at age 46. So this is a direct question to Jayakishan. Jayakishan, you need to tell me the protein or the disease. Either ways, it will be the same.
This is the hemophilia, and it is Stewart-Prober factor.
So I disagree with your answer. I am concerned that's not the appropriate answer. So we go on to participants who have typed yes in the chat box. If I'm correct, Arunesh is the one who has typed yes first. Yeah. So Aruneshwar, yes, can I have the answer from you?
So it is factor 9, sir. And it is hemophilia B, Christmas disease.
That is a perfect reply. So I think this is Christmas disease. There were so many clues in the diagram, in the slide. If you can make out, he died before Christmas. There's a Christmas bells around. It's a male patient. We have hemophilia in discussion. So I left so much clue. That's what I said about trivia. It's all about the presence of mind. Excellent answer. It's a 15-mark pointer for Aruneshwar. Great going, Aruneshwar. So with this, I hand over the baton to the ingenious and the charismatic resident from CMC Ludhiana, none other than Dr. Pavitra, to conduct the second round. Thank you and best of luck.
Good evening, everyone. So we'll be having a Eagle's Eye round or a SOHI. So this is about, we'll have clinical scenarios. So this is a non-passable round. So you won't be passing these questions. You'll having the person who is the question for, only that person gets either a half mark or a full mark based on these things. So you have to focus on your skill to see more than what meets the eye. That's the clinical scenario. So question will move from participant A to participant E. It's a non-passing round. There are 2 clues for each question to help the contestants. So the first clue will be projected on the same slide as the clinical scenario. So if you answer the question with the first clue itself, you'll get a full mark, that's a 30 mark. Son, there's a second clue which will be projected. So if you ask for a second clue, so then you'll be getting half marks. So with the first slide, with the first clue, if you answer the diagnosis, then you'll be getting 30. If you ask for a second clue, then you'll be getting 15 marks. So if you need the second clue, as I said, you'll be getting the 15 marks. If the contestant passes the question, any of the other 5 contestants can answer it, but you won't be awarded any marks. Is that clear? Any doubts? Next slide, please.
Ma'am, I have a small doubt, ma'am.
Sure.
Ma'am, after the first clue is being given, if I answer wrong after the first clue, so can I get the second clue or that
Yes.
question is dismissed there?
You can get the second clue, but if you get it right, you'll be getting 15 marks. You won't be getting 30 marks.
Okay, ma'am.
Sure. Next slide, please. So we'll be having a dummy question now. So probably, Soumya, you can only take the dummy question. We'll see. Oh no, you took the dummy question the last round, right? So probably Jai Krishnan can take the dummy question. So there's a 1-year-old male child. Listen to the question properly. Each and every sentence has a clue. So 1-year-old male child born to a second-degree consanguineously married couple, presented with complaints of progressive pallor. Child had some motor developmental delay, was immunized for AIDS. On examination had pallor, mild icterus with hepatosplenomegaly. CBC showed anemia with a normal total count and platelet count. Peripheral smear showed severe anisopoikilocytosis with target cells and nucleated RBCs. So what's the diagnosis here, Jai Krishnan? If you're not able to answer it, then you can ask for the second clue.
Thalassemia and
Okay, correct. So your answer was correct. So it is thalassemia. So if you was not able to answer this question here, you could ask for a second clue. Next slide, please. Then you'll get a clue like this. So this is a HPLC report based on which we diagnose thalassemia. So you'll get a clue like this and you can answer later. So if you answer at the first slide, you'll get 30 marks. If you answer at the second slide after the second clue, you'll get 15 marks. So we'll go on to the questions now. We'll be starting with Soumya again. So next slide, please. So there's a 7-day-old male baby born to a third-degree consanguineously married couple, presented on day 3 of life with complaints of deep bluish discoloration of hands, forearms, feet and legs. This discoloration progressed to dry gangrene at the tips of the fingers. Investigations revealed a normal CRP, normal CBC with a normal PT-APTT INR. So what's the diagnosis here and what's the likely etiology? Soumya? What's the diagnosis here?
Ma'am, I want the clue, ma'am.
Okay, so can we have the next slide, please? So thrombophilia syndromes which can present with the similar clinical presentation.
Ma'am, is it some thrombotic event, that congenital thrombotic event like factor V Leiden mutation?
No, I wouldn't give a mark for that. So this is basically neonatal purpura fulminans. If you see that picture, that picture is very classical of neonatal purpura fulminans, which and the most likely etiology is protein C, protein S deficiency. Usually that is what presents as a neonatal purpura fulminans. If you see the picture, you can see that extensive purpura. It's all because of the microthrombi of the vessels. So we'll go on to the next question. So this question is for Jashwantini. Next slide, please. Yeah. So there's a 61-year-old lady who was admitted to intensive care unit with acute kidney injury secondary to sepsis, and she was initiated on renal dialysis. After 5 days of admission to the intensive care, a hematology consult was taken for dropping platelet count. Investigations revealed mild anemia with moderate thrombocytopenia. What do you think is the likely diagnosis here?
Is it
You can ask for the clue if you want. You're not audible, Jashwantini.
hello? Am I
Yes.
audible?
Yes, you're audible now.
Is it something related to thrombotic microangiopathies?
You can ask for a clue if you want. No, it's not. Do you want the clue?
Okay, clue.
Next question, please. Next clue, please. Yeah. What do you think it is? So there are antibodies against these antigens, because of which this condition can be seen. Okay. So anyone?
Hello.
Yeah, yes. Do you want to answer?
Hello. Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Is it audible?
It's audible, Jaswantini. But I think your time is up, man. You have to be quick.
Is it heparin platelet 4 antibody?
No, I wouldn't be giving a mark for you. Anyone else wants to answer? Yes, I think Aruneshwar is saying a yes. But you
heparin-induced thrombocytopenia.
Yes, good. So it is heparin-induced thrombocytopenia. So if you see the question, so she was started on dialysis. So usually for dialysis they used heparin, and on day 5 she developed some moderate thrombocytopenia, which is seen with HIT. So and HIT has antibodies against platelet factor 4. Okay. So you guys have to just relate to the questions. See, each and every sentence has a clue in it. So even a sepsis, dialysis, moderate thrombocytopenia, each thing has a clue. So you have to connect all of these points and make a diagnosis. So we'll go on to the next question now. It's for Aruneshwar.
Yes, ma'am.
So there's a 20-year-old lady diagnosed with SLE for the past 3 years. And she's on regular medications, now has presented with complaints of left-sided hemiplegia. MRI brain done showed an arterial infarct involving the internal capsule. Investigation showed normal CBC. Coagulation parameters showed isolated APTT prolongation with no correction of APTT with half patient and half control.
Is it antiphospholipid antibody syndrome?
Good, very good, excellent. So
The
yes.
secondary antiphospholipid antibody syndrome due to SLE.
Yes, very good. So it's a secondary APLA. So you'll be getting full 30 marks for it. So with secondary APLA, usually there's no correction. So what is the concept behind half correction and half patient? So if it is, do you want to answer, Arunesha? I think you wanted to answer.
Yes, ma'am. It is usually used to differentiate between when there's any antibody production or if it's a deficiency. If it is a deficiency, once we mix it with normal control, then it will normalize, the APTT will normalize. But in case since the patient's plasma has antibodies, once we mix the normal plasma, again the glycoproteins and the target antigens will be destroyed by those antibodies in the patient's serum. So there will be no correction.
Okay, good. So can we go on to the next question now? So this question is for Saravanan. Yeah. So there's a 34-year-old ambulatory male patient who was presented with complaints of progressive weight loss and abdominal pain. So on evaluation, ultrasound abdomen was done, which was showed a gastric mass, and CT abdomen was suggestive of a gastric malignancy. So on examination, he was found to have bilateral lower limb swelling. What's the diagnosis here? I want you to tell the diagnosis and the etiology behind it. Saravanan?
Yes. Clue.
Okay. Next slide, please. So CT venogram showed a narrowing of the common iliac vein with a rim of enhancement.
Whether it's Lerici syndrome.
No. So your answer is wrong. Anyone wants to try?
Or May Turner compression.
No, Baba. No.
Is it Torsio and migratory thrombophlebitis?
No, this is, I have not given any skin features of whether he has a migratory thrombophlebitis thing. So I've just told he has bilateral lower limb edema. So, and what is the CT showing? The CT is showing, it's written also, it's showing the thrombosis of the iliac vein. So it is DVT secondary to cancer. So it's cancer associated thrombosis. So can we have the next question, please? So this is for Jai Krishnan. So there's a 40-year-old male patient who was presented with complaints of decreasing urine output, jaundice, and generalized weakness for the past 3 days. On examination, he had a GCS of 15/15 with some anemia, jaundice, and there was no organomegaly. Investigation showed anemia, thrombocytopenia with a normal total count. Biochemical investigation showed elevated creatinine with indirect hyperbilirubinemia. And this is the peripheral smear of the patient. So what do you think is the diagnosis here, Jai Krishna?
If I get it wrong, can I try again with the clue?
Sure, you can. If you get it wrong.
This is TTP and atypical HU.
What's your answer?
Can you go back to the question, ma'am?
40-year-old male patient. But you won't be getting a full. No, the answer is not TTP. Do you want the clue next?
Yes, ma'am. ITP.
Sorry?
This is ITP.
ITP.
Idiopathic thrombocytic purpura.
No. See, why are you saying ITP? So this patient has some anemia, jaundice, renal involvement. Why will a patient with ITP has? So in this condition, I'm given the clue plasmapheresis is indicated. So this is HUS and the peripheral smear. Can we go on to the previous slides, please? It is showing schistocytes there. Can you see the schistocyte there? It's marked also. Okay, sure. So we are done with the rounds here. Yes. So this is Dr. Harpreet. So she is from PGI Chandigarh. She is doing her DM in hematopath from PGI Chandigarh. She's from Chandigarh, and she'll be going on to the. And other thing she definitely wanted all of us to mention was she loves traveling. So there you go, Dr. Harpreet. So I've mentioned that you love traveling.
Thank you, Dr. Pavitra. I think that was Pujita who told. Thank you for the introduction. So hello everyone. It's my privilege to join you all and be the quiz master. But in fact, I'm also learning like you all. So I'll be dealing with the third round. So can we have the next slide? So the round 3 is actually a detection round. I'm a hematopathologist, so I'll be dealing with all the laboratory tests. So this round will have 5 questions, and there will not be anything in the response box. We will have the linear moving of the rounds. So the direct round question will be of 30 marks if you answer correctly, and if the next person answers, it will be 15 marks. Okay, and the time is 15 seconds for the direct question, and the passing also we will keep it as 15 seconds. So everyone is clear with the rules? Okay, so can we have the next slide? So we'll start with the dummy question. So so this is the first dummy question. We'll not be scoring for this particular question. So which of the following blood collection vacutainers are mismatched with their anticoagulant? So this is a direct question for A, Soumya, participant A. So this is just a dummy question.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, you are audible.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible. So your time starts now.
Ma'am, E is incorrect because it should be fluoride. Gray is fluoride.
Okay.
The last one, E is incorrect because it should be fluoride.
Okay. So your time is up. So that will not be the correct answer. The correct answer is C. So C is basically a plain vial. It doesn't have any anticoagulant. So it was labeled as ACD, that is the acid citrate dextrose that. Okay. So now we will move on to the actual question. So first question is for participant A. So participant A is Soumya. So your direct question is, EDTA anticoagulant induces an artifactual platelet clumping. This often leads to a pseudo-thrombocytopenia and demands a careful peripheral blood film evaluation. So this clumping is believed to be due to a low titer of IgG antibody reacting to a particular epitope exposed on platelet receptor. This receptor is also the most common target for antibodies in immune thrombocytopenia. Can you name this platelet receptor?
Yes,
Your
ma'am.
time starts now.
GP2B3.
Excellent answer. So the answer is actually GP2B3A. So you need to have a careful peripheral blood examination because, so the next slide please. So the question, just wait for here. So actually the peripheral blood evaluation is extremely important. So you cannot just rely on the counter for excluding a pseudo thrombocytopenia. So 30 marks to you, Soumya. Next question is for participant B. So Jaswantini, your direct question. Next slide. Next slide. So a 32-year-old primigravida in her second trimester presented with seizures and renal dysfunction. Workup and PBF picture are shown here. So you have to evaluate the peripheral blood film and you have to observe the findings, laboratory parameters, and come up to a complete and full diagnosis. I repeat, I need a complete diagnosis. Then only I'll be able to give you full marks. So your time starts now.
Ma'am, is it something like rhabdomyolysis?
So your time is up. No. So participant C, that is Aruneshwar.
Yes, ma'am. It is a case of eclampsia or HELLP syndrome, hemolytic anemia, elevated liver enzymes, and low platelet count. Hemolytic anemia shown by low HB count, low platelet count of 50,000, and elevated liver enzymes, and bilirubin indicates that there is hemolytic anemia, and elevated liver enzymes which satisfies the Mississippi criteria for HELLP syndrome.
So what is the peripheral blood film showing here?
It is showing hemolytic anemia, it is showing the histiocytes.
Excellent, Aruneshwar. So you get 15 marks for this because it was a passing question. So next slide, please. So it is indeed a HELLP syndrome. So next question is for team C, that is Aruneshwar, your direct question. So a platelet agonist, also an antibiotic, is derived from a plant which is shown here, which is called Amycolatopsis lurida, which was previously used to treat staphylococcal infections. So this particular agonist is also important in von Willebrand disease because there is a defective platelet aggregation with this particular agonist, as seen in the left side, which is just a representative photo from light transmission aggregometry, where we get defective aggregation from this particular agonist, which is also an antibiotic. So what it is called? Your time start now.
It is a ristocetin adhesion test, which is defective in von Willebrand disease and Burnett-Follier syndrome. Ristocetin adhesion test.
So I need to know the agonist. What is the agonist?
Ristocetin.
Excellent. So you get 30 marks. So it is indeed a ristocetin. It's an antibiotic and it is derived from this particular plant. It was previously used to treat staphylococcal infection, but not now because it has a side effect of thrombocytopenia. So definitely thank you for this particular answer. It's indeed a tough question. So next. So team D, your direct question. So team D is Saravanan S. So a 30-year-old female presents with pain abdomen and progressive pallor. Ultrasound shows hepatic vein thrombosis and the workup reveals following findings. So first is basically a pearl stained urine smear. Second figure is a card test, and third figure is basically a set of 9 tubes which show these findings. Next question. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. So by that particular set of pictures, you have to tell me a compound which is used for the confirmatory diagnosis of that condition. I'll show you the slides again. And a clue is that this compound is derived from the toxin which is formed by Aeromonas hydrophilia, which is a gram-negative bacterium. Okay? So you have to first come up to a diagnosis and then you name the compound which is used for the confirmatory diagnosis of this particular condition. So can I have the previous slides, please? And your time start now, Saravanan. You have to tell me the compound. You first diagnose this condition and you tell me the compound.
The diagnosis is PNH. The compound is aerolysine.
Okay, can you tell me the complete name?
Aerolysine. PNH, peroxisome nocturnal.
That's definitely PNH is the diagnosis, but what is the name of the compound, complete compound?
Aerolysine.
Okay, I'll give you the marks, but the complete name is the FLAIR. That is FLAIR that we used in flow cytometry for the confirmation because that is deficient. Okay, so FLAIR bounds to GPI linked protein that is deficient in PNH patients. So the complete name is fluorescent aerolysine, that is FLAIR. Okay, but I'll give you the marks for aerolysine. So 30 marks for Saravanan. Next slide, please. So last question for team E, that is Jaya Krishnan. So just read carefully. Viscoelastic assays are global tests of coagulation performed on whole blood at the point of care. These assays monitor the thrombolydynamic properties of blood and provide a complete picture of clot formation, strength, and lysis in the whole blood that includes the contribution of platelets, fibrinogen, and coagulation factors. Next slide. So one of the viscoelastic assay give this kind of graph. So can you name which assay among the viscoelastic assays give this kind of graph? So your time start now. Jaya Krishnan, this is a direct question for you.
There are two waves, ADP and epinephrine.
So you just have to tell me, you don't have to interpret this graph, you just have to tell me. So your time is up, but I'll give you
ADP. Oh, yeah.
So you don't have to tell me the agonist, you have to tell me the assay. What kind of test or which give this kind of graph?
Thromboelastography.
Sorry, that's a wrong question, the wrong answer, because TEG is indeed a viscoelastic assay, but this kind of graph is given by SonoClot. So SonoClot is also a viscoelastic assay. But good attempt. TEG is also a viscoelastic assay. So yeah, so that is the last. We will not have the question number 6, I guess. So can we have the scores, please? So these are the final scores. Okay, so I think Aruneshwar is leading with 120 marks and followed by Saravanan with 75 marks, and Soumya, you can catch up because there are 2 more rounds to go. I think 3 more rounds to go. So okay, and all the best to the rest of the candidates. So now I'll pass on to my next, and it's a privilege to introduce her. She's a very good friend of mine, Dr. Poojitha Bai Reddy. She is my MD batchmate from PGI Chandigarh, and now she's doing her DM clinical hematology from CMC Ludhiana. So over to you, Poojitha.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Harpreet, for that kind introduction of me. This is round 4, that is Gemini round, which is a deduction round. As the word Gemini says, it is a twin. So this round comprises of 5 questions, each one for one participant, and each question has 2 parts. Part A and Part B. Part A carries 15 marks and Part B carries 15 marks. If you don't answer Part A also, you can go for the Part B and you can score in the Part B also. So there is no passing in this round and it's for the individual only. Are the rules are clear to everyone? So this is a dummy question for one of the participants. Aruneshwar, you can answer this dummy question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we have 2 parts for the question and you can answer for each part separately. So we have a 62-year-old patient presented with acute onset weakness and high-grade fever and weight loss of 6 kg in the last month. Complete blood picture showed leukocytosis of count 1,20,000 along with thrombocytopenia, and peripheral blood film also showed 55% atypical immature looking myeloid cells. Next slide. Next slide, please. So Aruneshwar, what is the likely diagnosis of this patient?
Maybe acute myeloid leukemia.
Yes, excellent. Next slide, please. So what is the full form of TLS which can be seen in this patient to start the therapy?
Tumor lysis syndrome.
Excellent. So you are already prepared for the next edition of the quiz also then. Okay. So we will start the main round. That we can skip this question because participant F is not there. We'll start with the question E. Yes. This is for Jay Krishna. Are you ready, Jay Krishna? Okay. We have a 32-year-old man who is seen for the evaluation of possible thrombophilia. So his father was recently diagnosed with heterozygous factor V Leiden mutation following an unprovoked venous thromboembolism of the limb. Patient is concerned about his possible thrombosis risk, and patient's medical history was negative and he has no previous history of any thrombosis. So next slide. So I want to question you, will you consider the patient for thrombophilia testing?
Ma'am, since there is no, it's only a heterozygous thing and there's no medical history and there's no risk factor.
Yes.
No.
Good.
We won't.
Yes, good. That is the logical reason that, and you answered it very correctly. So we will not do any thrombophilia testing unnecessarily for this patient because his father had only heterozygous factor V Leiden mutation. Heterozygous state is unlikely to provoke any thrombosis, and this patient also has no previous history of thrombosis. So we will avoid considering thrombophilia testing in this patient. So coming to the part B of the question, next slide. So this is an easy one. What is the most common inherited cause for the APC resistance? Inherited cause of APC resistance. Jay Krishna. What is the most common inherited cause of activated protein C resistance?
Leiden mutation, factor V Leiden.
Good, excellent. So APC resistant can be either secondary to inherited causes or secondary to acquired causes also. Among the inherited causes, the most common one is the factor V Leiden mutation. So there goes, you get the full marks for this question and your score is 30 now. So next question to the participant D, that is Sharvanan. Okay, Sharvanan, are you ready?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay. This is a 25-year-old woman who had history of recurrent first trimester abortions. She was diagnosed to have APLA and she also recently developed nephrotic range proteinuria with creatinine value of 2.4 gram per deciliter. Her lab showed that hemoglobin is 12.5 grams, WBC count is 4,500 and platelets are mildly reduced with the count of 86,000. Her PT is normal and APTT is prolonged, which is expected in this patient. And the autoimmune panel tested in that patient, in her, showed that there is strong positive for ANA by the immunofluorescence testing. So the next question. So Sharvanan, what do you consider the likely explanation for the renal parameters of this patient?
This is a case of SLE and presenting with nephrotic syndrome. Both is a hypercoagulable stage, so can increase the coagulation parameters.
Okay, right.
APLA is also there.
So what will you label the patient now?
Secondary APLA.
Good, that's a good answer. So 15 marks for this part and we'll go to the part B. So what will be the pattern seen on the immunofluorescence studies of these patients if you do a kidney biopsy? If you see this picture also, you can get the answer.
Full-House effect.
Full-House?
Full-House phenomenon, Full-House effect or Full-House phenomenon.
Full-House pattern. Why do you call this as Full-House pattern?
Like all the antibodies are present, IgG, IgA, IgM, C1q, C3, C4d, all are.
Good. Excellent answer. So you will also score 30 marks, that is full marks you will get for this answer. We'll go to the participant C, that is Aruneshwar. Yes. So Aruneshwar, you have a 6-year-old child presented with history of anasarca, mild weakness, loss of appetite, which gradually progressed over 2 weeks. His parents noticed that the child is also passing foamy and frothy urine. Labs showed that he has normal CBC counts with HB of 13.5, WBC of 6,500 and platelets of 3,20,000. Creatinine is elevated with value of 2.2 grams. Albumin is low, that is 2.1 gram per deciliter. and his 24-hour urine protein estimation was 3.8 grams per 24 hour. Kidney biopsy was normal in histopathological examination. Then this patient suddenly developed sudden onset breathlessness. He also developed desaturation, hypotension requiring hospital admission and intubation. So, coming to the part A of the question, what is the likely diagnosis of this patient?
Is it a minimal change disease?
Yes.
It is a nephrotic syndrome. It's a cause of nephrotic syndrome in children. Minimal change disease.
Good. That is the right answer. That is a minimal change disease where we cannot see any abnormal findings in the histopathology. Only EM may show the podocyte flattening, and he has nephrotic range proteinuria. So it is a minimal change disease causing nephrotic syndrome. So coming to the part B.
Yes, ma'am.
Next slide, please. So which protein deficiency is commonly noted in these patients, and that is leading to the prothrombic state in the patient?
Loss of antithrombin 3 in the urine.
Excellent. So how will you label the patient now, finally? I'll give you the full marks. What is the final prothrombotic state in this patient now?
It is a renal vein thrombosis.
If you want the main history, I can show you. Previous slide, please.
Please show the history.
Previous slide. Yeah. So he developed sudden onset breathlessness, desaturation, hypotension requiring hospital admission and intubation.
Pulmonary embolism or renal vein pulmonary embolism.
Yeah, pulmonary embolism leading to the sudden desaturation, and this embolism is because of the loss of the antithrombin protein in the urine. Excellent. You also scored 30 marks for this round, for this question. So we will move to the next participant, that is Jaswantni, participant B. So we have a 15-year-old male child presented with progressive pallor, weakness requiring 2 units of blood transfusion in the last 1 week, and moderate degree abdominal pain which is acute in onset. He also has history of passing dark cola-colored urine in the early morning. On examination, child has pallor, icterus, and abdomen is little tender on palpation. His blood picture showed anemia with HB of 5.3 grams and other lineages are normal. DCT test was negative and he has mild increase in the retic count with 5%. LDH was also elevated. Next slide, please. Next slide. So Jaswanti, coming to your party, what is the drug of choice for the treatment of this condition? Jaswanti, are you there? You are muted. Unmute yourself. Jaswanti? Jaswanti, please unmute. Can you type in the chat box? We are not able to hear you. Jaswanti, can you type it for us?
You're still muted. We are seeing you as muted. Can you unmute yourself, please, first?
Hello? Is it audible?
Yes, it's audible now. Yes, spell out your answer.
Is it cyclophosphamide?
No, that's the wrong one. We can go to the part B. Next slide, please. So it will be difficult for you if you don't know the part A. The part B question is, what are the immunizations given to the patient prior to starting these drugs?
Is it like prednisone, like corticosteroids?
No, I asked about the drug of choice. What is this clinical condition?
Nephrotic syndrome.
Sorry, that is wrong. I won't give any mark to you, and also if any other participant will try to answer, they will not be getting any.
Meningococcal vaccines has to be given.
Correct, Jaswanti, time's up for you. Another participant may try to answer this, but they won't get any marks. Anyone ready to answer this? Aruneshwar?
I just want to see the question.
Okay. Previous slide. Previous slide. Yeah. A 15-year-old male child presented with progressive pallor, weakness requiring 2 units of blood transfusion in the last 1 week with moderate degree of abdominal pain which is acute in onset. He also has history of passing dark cola-colored urine in the morning. His CBC showed anemia with reticulocytosis, DCT was negative and LDH value is also elevated. So what is the diagnosis of this patient?
Is it autoimmune hemolytic anemia?
Autoimmune hemolytic anemia will have DCT positivity. We mentioned it as DCT negative.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Is it steroid resistant nephrotic syndrome?
Leave it. I'll tell the answer. It is PNH because it has cola-colored urine and the child is passing cola-colored urine. He presented with anemia and it is DCT negative. Among the DCT negative hemolytic anemias, we have D6PD deficiency and the PNH. And the drug of choice for this condition is the eculizumab. And before starting the eculizumab, we have to give the vaccines like meningococcal vaccine and HMV, the vaccine for the patient. So we'll go to the final question of this round, that is to Team A, Soumya. Okay, Soumya, this is the question for you. A 62-year-old male presented to you. He had a previous history of MI and he is a non-smoker. On evaluation, his complete blood count showed that his hemoglobin was elevated with count of 18.5 grams. TLC is 12,000. Platelets are 350,000. On clinical examination, his spleen was enlarged which is 6 centimeters below left costal margin and liver is 3 centimeters below right costal margin. Next question. Next slide. So Soumya, what is the likely diagnosis of this patient?
Ma'am, can you see the question stem, please? Ma'am, is it polycythemia rubra vera?
Yeah, good. It is polycythemia. Polycythemia vera. So
Yes,
part A you have answered correctly. So we'll go to the part B. Part B. So what is the choice of anticoagulant in such patients?
Ma'am, is it heparin?
I won't consider that as a correct answer. Okay, time sir. It is the antiplatelet. We have antiplatelet drug will be the choice of anticoagulant in these patients because the thrombosis is predominantly arterial event in these patients. And he also had a history of MI, so we'll give an dual antiplatelet drug for this. So that sums up this round, and at the end of this round, we have the Aruneshwar still leading with the score of 150, followed by Soumya with followed by Saravanan with score of 105, and at the third place it's Soumya with score of 60. I'll introduce the quizmaster of the next round. It's a privilege for me to introduce my batchmate and colleague, that is Dr. Ketan Modak. He is from the orange city of the country, that is Nagpur. Recently he went to IMA sports competition also, that is Indian Medical Association sports competition, where he won a gold medal in a 200 meter sprint race. It's really a proud moment for CMC Ludhiana. I'll hand over the screen to Dr. Ketan.
Thank you, Dr. Pujita, for such a kind introduction. Yeah. So now we are in the round 5. It's a casino style round. And why we have kept this name, it's because you are here for gambling. You will be gambling for the points, not for the money. So the rules of this is, we have 3 questions, 3 levels of questions. There is level 1, level 2 and level 3. So level 1 carries 15 marks and there is no negative marking for it. Level 2 carries 30 marks. If you answer it correctly, you will get 30 definitely. But if it's incorrect answer, you will get 7.5 marks. That is half of the level 1 question. If you answer correctly, you go to level 3, you will get 60 marks. If you answer it incorrectly, again half of the level 2 question you will get. we will have a demo question. Can you go to demo question? So this is not related to thrombosis, but we have a 20-year-old gentleman with bleeding gums. He's having pancytopenia, retic of 0.1 and bone marrow has 10% cellularity. So what can be the possible diagnosis? Anyone?
Is it ALL?
Aplastic anemia.
Yeah, it's aplastic anemia. And so you get 15 marks. Even if you answer it incorrectly, you won't lose marks. So you must attempt level 1 question. Now here you have to decide whether to go to level 2 or not. So Jaswantini, Jai Krishna, I think you must attempt all the level questions, at least level 2 question, because you have a lot to gain. Aruneshwar, Sarvanan, Soumya, think and answer. So we go to level.
Doubt. So can we see the question and decide whether we want to answer it?
No. So good question. You won't be able to decide after seeing the question. You have to decide once your level 1 question is correctly answered. After that, you have to decide whether you want to go for level 2 or not. So that's why it's a gambling round, right? That's where the gamble comes. Yeah.
Even if we don't answer the level 1 question, can we go to level 2?
No, you can't. You can't go to level 2 directly. You have to answer level 1 and then only you can go to level 2. Okay, so if you answer level 1 correctly, the demo question, can you move ahead? So we go to level 2. Level 2, what is the full form of ATG? Everyone must be knowing. Antithymocyte globulin. You answer it wrongly, you will get 7.5 marks. But you answer it correctly, you go to level 3. That will be up to you whether to go ahead or not. So you have to decide at this point whether to go ahead and take the chance. So level 3 question would be, which is the only curative treatment option, and that's the stem cell transplant. So I hope you have understood the rules. Think and attempt. Those who are lagging behind, they must gamble. The scorecard may be completely different at the end of this round. Okay, so we'll start with the quiz. Participant F is not there, so we can directly start with participant E. Yeah, so participant E is Jai Krishna. Are you ready, Jai Krishna?
Yes.
Yeah, so level 1 question to you. So we have a 36-year-old lady who has a known history of connective tissue disease. She was admitted with right-sided weakness, dysphagia, dysgraphia, along with acute kidney injury developed over 5 days. She was confused on examination, was dehydrated, there was hypertension and heart rate was 110 beats per minute. She had few bruises over the limbs. These were her investigations. You can see SB was 10.5, total count of 14,500, platelet count of 34,000, PTINR was 14.1, APTT was 56 and control was 26. Creat was raised, albumin was 2.9, MRI brain showed infarct in left temporoparietal region and 2D echo was suggestive of dilated cardiomyopathy. Plenty of things. What is the probable diagnosis here? You must attempt, Jai Krishna.
Secondary APLA.
Yeah. So I'll grant you the answer. I would have. Can you want to answer it in a better way? Maybe it's a catastrophic form of APLA basically. That's what I wanted. But yeah, I will grant the marks for APLA. Good, Jai Krishna. So you get 15 marks, 15 points, and we go to level 2. I had given a cap above also. So that was for CAPS, catastrophic APLA syndrome. If you see it, yeah. So we can go to level 2 question. You want to take?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Level 2 question. Yeah. Question, please. Yeah. So name a monoclonal antibody that is used in treating antiphospholipid antibody syndrome. Any monoclonal antibody. We have a couple of them at least.
Rituximab.
Yeah. So answer is right. Rituximab. You get 30 points. Very well. Very good answer. and we go to level 3. You want to take it? I think you must, because you
Yes, sir.
already got
Yes.
30 points. You have nothing to lose, I suppose. Yeah, okay. So you go to level 3 question. Level 3 question, please, sir. Yeah. So in the context of CAPS, that is catastrophic antiphospholipid antibody syndrome, what do you mean by triple therapy?
We'll first correct the anticoagulant therapy will be given along with monoclonal antibody, and then we'll do supportive therapy with like treating the hypertension, all that.
You are close, but their triple therapy is very specific, which contains 3 agents or 3 forms of therapies.
Anticoagulation, monoclonal antibodies, and supportive therapy.
No. You have partly answered it correctly, but not fully. So I won't grant you the marks. Anybody else wants to answer, you won't get marks, but you can try.
Anticoagulants, anyone immunoglobulin and then glucocorticoid.
No. So it's steroids, immunoglobulin or Plex, and rituximab, that is monoclonal antibody. Not anticoagulation in the therapy. No worries, you get 15 marks, Jai Krishna.
Do I get a negative for this, or?
Yeah. You definitely get negative for this because you have not answered it correctly. But at the end of your attempt, you have got 15 marks. So your score becomes 45. Anyways, nicely answered. We go to participant D, who is Sarvanan. So you can catch up with Aruneshwar Sarvanan. All set? Are you able to hear, Sarvanan? You are mute, I think. You are muted.
Yes, sir.
Sarvan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Whether it is audible.
Yeah. Okay. So all the best. We'll go to level 1 question. Level 1 question, please. So we have a 58-year-old gentleman with multiple myeloma who was on lenalidomide and dexamethasone. He presented in a casualty with breathlessness and chest pain since last 2 days. He was conscious, afebrile with respiratory rate of 28 per minute, heart rate of 120. Saturation was 90% on room air. BP was 100 by 60 millimeter of mercury. Hemoglobin was 10.5, total count of 7,800, platelet count of 1,20,000 with normal TROP-T. Creat was 1.1, D-dimer of 1,340, and ECG showed sinus tachycardia. What is the probable diagnosis here?
Pulmonary embolism.
Good. So it's a pulmonary embolism. I agree with you. And do you want to take or go for level 2 question, Sarvan?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, so it has negative marking. You know that? Okay. So we go to level 2 question. Level 2 question, please. Okay, so tell me a predictive score which is used in cancer patients for estimating the risk of thrombosis. We have few of them.
Corona score.
Can you pronounce it properly? I'll grant you marks.
KHORONA. Corona.
Okay, so the Corona score. Yeah, there are few other scores like Caprini score, Protect score, and Padua score. Yeah, but Corona score, I'll grant you the marks. You have got 30 marks, Sarvanan. Good going. You want to attempt level 3 question?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I want to attempt.
Okay. So we'll go ahead. This is a question for 60 points. If you get it, at least transiently, you can go in front of Aruneshwar. So level 3 question, please. So this is the image of a eminent physician. Can you tell me who is he and what is his contribution to the field of thrombosis in cancer? Think and answer. As you have attempted, you must give an answer whether it's wrong. I'm unable to hear, Sarvan. I'm unable to hear. You are muted.
Whether it's woman sign.
No.
Moses and woman. Moses and
No.
woman.
No. Sorry.
Moses sign, woman sign in DVT.
No. Good attempt, but no. Sorry. So he is Armand Troziu, and his contribution to the field of thrombosis was, you must be knowing, it's a Troziu sign of malignancy or Troziu syndrome, which is seen is usually associated with gastric adenosis. So good, you have got again 15 points in this round. You are still behind Aruneshwar, but no issues. You still have rapid fire to catch up. So we'll go to participant C, Aruneshwar, who is currently leading, and he can further stretch his lead. So we'll go to level 1 question, Aruneshwar. You are ready?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. So level 1 question, please. Yeah. So we here have a 52-year-old gentleman who is a smoker and occasional alcoholic who comes to casualty with right-sided weakness. MRI brain shows acute infarct in left middle cerebral artery. The bilateral carotid artery Doppler is normal. Transesophageal echo is it doesn't show any vegetation. The HbA1c lipid profile is normal. Hemoglobin is 17.6, total count of 10,000, platelet is 4,05,000. USG shows mild splenomegaly. Any likely diagnosis, Aruneshwar? We are unable to see you, Aruneshwar. Yeah.
Sir, polycythemia rubra vera.
Yeah, I will grant you. So myeloproliferative neoplasm, most likely polycythemia. I will grant you the marks. You want to go to level 2?
Yes, sir. I will go, sir.
Yeah. So kindly level 2 question, please. Yeah. So can you name a molecular test which is done to confirm the diagnosis?
Sir, JAK-STAT mutation analysis.
JAK. Can you be more specific? You are close.
JAK2 STAT mutations.
JAK2 mutation.
V617F valine to phenylalanine substitution.
Oh, you are very specific now. Okay. So that's true. That's the picture of Janus.
Janus kind of.
Yeah. So JAK-STAT mutation, you are right. We grant you 30 marks. You want to take level 3 question also?
Yes, sir. I'll take, sir.
Yeah, good decision. So we'll go to level 3 question. Question, please. Yeah. So which is the targeted therapy which is used in the treatment of MPN nowadays? Think and answer. You have nothing to lose. Definitely you will get negative marks, but yes, you are still ahead. Just think.
So the JAK2 inhibitors like ruxolitinib, this target the molecular
you are right.
gene mutation.
You are right. You are absolutely right. It's a ruxolitinib. That was the answer. Very good, Aruneshwar. You have got 60 marks. Great job. So you stretch your lead by 90 marks. Sarvanan leading behind with 120 marks. Jaswantini, you have a lot to do. So you can get 60 marks in this round. We'll start with your level 1 question. Level 1 question, please, sir. For participant B, Jaswantini. Yeah. So we have a 65-year-old male who has a chronic bilateral knee pain which is secondary to osteoarthritis. He undergoes a bilateral total knee replacement. On the next day of surgery, he was started on prophylactic enoxaparin. In a second week post-surgery, he develops fever with chills. There is mild breathlessness on exertion, and he was started on empirical antibiotics. At the same time, the surgeon notices that he has a left leg swelling also. His HB is 11, total count of 12,000, platelet is 42,000, MCV 86, RDW is 15.1 and creatine LFT is normal. What is the probable diagnosis, Jaswantini? The clue is there in the question. Think and answer. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain in this round, but you must answer it correctly. Yes.
Is it something like
Not some means, yeah. Tell me. Can you look at the camera, Jaswantini? Yeah. Yeah, that's better.
Like my screen is on this side, so like I have to read the question on this side.
Okay, so you have read the question? Okay, what is the answer, Jaswantini?
I'm not sure, sir.
Not sure. So you can attempt. This is a level 1 question. There is no negative marking. Max to max, you will give a wrong answer. That's it. But
Is it something like ecchymosis secondary to enoxaparin?
can you be more specific?
Ecchymosis secondary.
Okay. Will anybody else wants to answer? We won't give the marks. But anybody else wants to answer? You are unaudible. Yeah, Soumya, Jai Krishna, Sarvanan. Anybody wants to attempt? No?
HIT.
Huh?
HIT.
Yeah, it's HIT. So it's a heparin-induced thrombocytopenia. Usually occurs with heparin unfractionated, but can also occur with low molecular weight heparin, that is enoxaparin. So level 2 question, we will just go through it, though it doesn't carry any marks. You can just have a look at it. Can you show level 2 question? So name a functional assay which is used in diagnosis of HIT.
Serotonin release
Assay, yeah. So serotonin release assay. Then there is HIPAA also, which can be done heparin-induced platelet activation assay. And level 3 question, please, sir. There is no marks for this. We are just going through these questions. Level 3 question. So which anticoagulant has been approved by FDA for treatment of HIT?
Argatroban.
Oh wow, good. Argatroban, yes. That's the answer. You don't get any marks, unfortunately, but yes. So we can go to participant A, Soumya. He's at 60 points, and you can go to 120 and match up with Sarvanan. Soumya, buck up. So level 1 question, we'll go ahead with it. A 39-year-old gentleman who comes to casualty with pain and swelling over his right leg for 3 days. He is a chronic smoker and alcoholic, and USG Doppler shows right lower limb shows DVT, that is deep vein thrombosis. He was started on direct oral anticoagulant, that is dabigatran 150 mg BD. Which test is highly sensitive for monitoring the patient on dabigatran? Think and answer. Again, Soumya, you have not much to lose. There is no negative marking. Think and answer. At least attempt, even if you don't know.
So is it a thrombin levels?
Can you be specific?
Hello, sir. Hello.
Correct in the terminology.
Sir, it can be clotting factor levels, factor 2 levels, prothrombin levels.
Levels, or do you want to correct it?
So that means that factor 2 and factor 10 assay we can do. So that
factor 10 usually we do in different DOACs. So
yes, sir. Factor 2, sir, thrombin and prothrombin assay we can do.
So I'll grant you marks. You are close because there is thrombin time is highly sensitive. Actually, they do
yes,
diluted
sir.
thrombin time or Icarian clotting time. So I'll grant you the marks. Do you want to take level 2 question?
Yes, I want to take.
Okay. So we'll go to level 2 question. Level 2 question is: patient does well for over a year, but one day he comes to casualty with severe headache and is diagnosed with ICH, intracranial hemorrhage. Neurosurgery team is planning to operate and calls the hematologist for an opinion. So in this clinical scenario, which is the best suited drug which you would advise to the team?
So that is a monoclonal antibody against dabigatran, that is andexanet alpha.
Wrong. There is wrong answer. Anybody else wants to answer? You won't get marks.
Sir, it is idarucizumab, sir. I remember. Sir, is it that idarucizumab?
And grant him that. He's done well.
Okay, sir. So yeah, it's right. It's idracizumab or Praxbind. It's very costly agent, and it's specifically against dabigatran. Endexanet alpha, which you said, it's against the Zabans, Rivaroxaban, Endoxaban, and Apixaban. So you want to take level 3 questions, Soumya? No issues. You must go, Soumya. You have not.
Sir, I have got how many marks
You have got 30 marks. You have got 30 marks. You are trailing Aruneshwar and Sarvanan. If you answer level 3 question correctly, you go to second position.
Yes, sir. I'll go for it.
You must go. Yeah. Good.
Yes.
So level 3 question. Yes. So name a specific situation or a condition where direct oral anticoagulant is inferior to older anticoagulants.
Yes, sir. So this is that valvular heart diseases. It can lead to that thromboembolic events. So direct oral anticoagulants cannot be used in valvular heart diseases associated with atrial fibrillation.
Okay, sure. I'll grant you the marks. There is more specific condition would have been triple positive APLA, but I'll grant you the marks. So you get 60 marks. Your score becomes 120. So you are now on second place. Aruneshwar leading with 2-1-10. Great. So with this we end round 5 of the quiz. We will go to round 6. So round 6 would be conducted by Dr. M. Joseph John. He is a professor and head of Department of Clinical Hematology and Stem Cell Transplant Program at CMC Ludhiana. And he is the brainchild behind this quiz. So last year he was the one who started it, and this year also he is the one who is taking it forward. So we'll go to Joseph sir for round 6, that is rapid fire round. Sir, over to you, sir.
So as it is well poised at 120-20, we may have a tiebreaker for the second position now. And there is almost 100 points to be scored, and you can potentially lose 100 as well. That is how this round is poised. You will have 10 questions coming on to you. You have a total of 60 seconds, and you can invite maximum of 10 questions within this 1 minute. If your response would be the right answer, or you'll say the right answer, or you should say pass. So your words you'll utter is the answer, pass, or true or false. Okay. My response would be correct, incorrect, and the right answer for true or false will remain correct, incorrect only. Suppose the answer is true, I would say correct. If the answer is false, also I would say correct if it is a correct answer. So my response will be correct, incorrect. If you think the answer is the question is too big, you may please choose to pass. Or if you can get the answers quickly. The clues I have put in bold and in colored. So you'll get plus 10 and a minus 10 to go. Okay, next question. Next slide, please. So the round 6, we start from E onwards. This is what we call a blitz simulation round. This is a blitz round. And we have 10 categories thrown at you. One is the image round, what's in a name, the full form, the true false, who am I, MCQs, MCQ1, MCQ. So each of this would be thrown at you. You would say yes, I know, or pass. Okay, so next slide, please. So there are the slides will be passed when I say next, and the dummy questions. After the dummy questions, I would say your time starts now, and a display board will come as 60-second countdown. And once the time's up, we would stop. There are team members here who would be looking at the correct and the incorrects, and they would be scoring in the end and telling you have scored X amount, X scores in the end. So this dummy round, what I'll do is, there are 10 questions. I would start from E to A, and I won't ask the name. Jai Krishna, Sarvanan, Aruneshwar, Jaswantni and Soumya can just answer it just like that. No minus points, 10 questions just to play around. Okay? Your time starts now. In which condition would you find the empty cella sign on CT scans? Jai Krishna. Should say pass if you don't know.
Pass.
Okay. Cortical venous thrombosis. Tocilizumab is a drug used in COVID-19 treatment. What does MAB mean, Sarvanan?
Monoclonal. Okay.
Correct. Next question. What's the full form of VTE, Aruneshwar?
Venous thromboembolism.
Correct. Next question. This ECG shows these findings. Is it consistent with acute pulmonary embolism? Correct. Next question.
True.
True. Next. Click. I take part in homeostasis, thrombosis, wound healing. I'm produced in the marrow. I get activated by phospholipids.
Platelets.
Correct. Next. What is the estimated prevalence of VTE per annum?
Pass.
Next. What should be your suspect? I started, I completed. What should you suspect in a patient who presents with sudden onset of
Pulmonary
cough?
embolism.
Correct. So that's how it goes. Anybody can take this. The time's up, but 7 is this.
Pulse oximeter.
That is correct. So 7 questions at this speed. So you can detect your speed. Below mark extract became that, and that was the other question which we had. Okay. Participant. So go to E, please. Yes. Participant E, Jai Krishna. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Jai Krishna, can you raise your hand so that I'm also clear about it? Okay. Okay, next slide. Your time starts now. Next. Name the naturally occurring peptide with anticoagulant properties seen in the salivary glands of this organism.
Hirudin.
Correct. Next. What is Paget-Schroeder syndrome?
Pass.
Next. In critical conditions in lung involvement, you do this.
Extracorporeal membrane oxygenation.
Correct. Next. Mitchell-Spented explains the pathogenesis of thrombosis. True or false?
False.
Correct. Next slide. In the presence of the following triad, the claudication important.
Leydig syndrome.
Correct. Next slide. The condition in which the patient develops iliofemoral deep vein thrombosis with the anatomy.
Lee-Turner syndrome.
Correct. Next slide. A famous American tennis star who suffered repeated episodes of DVT since 2011 and still won many Grand Slams.
Pass.
Next. What is this you see in?
Pass.
Next. So that's it. You couldn't complete the next. The time's up. You can take a shot at this just for your knowledge sake. Previous slide, please. Previous slide. Normal value of D-dimer. No marks. You attempted 8 questions. I'm waiting for the team members to tell me how many correct, how many wrong.
So 5 correct answers
5
and
correct.
3 pass.
No incorrect. So you score 50 points here. That's well done. That's well done because as compared to the last few years, 50 is a good score. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, participant D, Sarvanan. Are you ready?
Sir, if we pass, we can come back to the question if time is
No.
Okay, sir.
You cannot come back if it is a pass. Okay. Are you ready? Keep your.
Yes, sir.
Please unmute yourself and be ready. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Your time starts now. Which embolus are we hinting at?
Saddle embolus.
Correct. Next. What is the condition in which we use Wells score?
Risk of thrombosis in pulmonary embolism.
Correct. Chadox is a vaccine for COVID. What is CH and AD in Chadox 1?
Adeno, that is adenovirus.
What is CH?
Pulmonary. Chimeric.
Wrong. Incorrect.
Chimeric
Next.
adenovirus.
Incorrect. Next slide. D-dimer test is high negative predictive value. True or false?
Pass.
Next.
Virchow.
I gave. Correct. Next slide. In which of the following diseases APTT is prolonged and the patient has thrombosis?
Antiphospholipid syndrome.
Correct. Next. I stop because I started. I'll continue. Name the commonest vitamin deficiency which can lead to thrombosis.
Vitamin K.
Incorrect. It is B12 deficiency. So can we have the scores, please?
Correct, 2 wrong.
So 4 correct, 2 incorrect.
4 correct, 2 incorrect. So you go home with 20 points.
20.
Okay. Next candidate, Aruneshwar.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let's go to the question. Participant C, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, your time starts now. What is this gentleman holding in the hand?
IVC filter.
Correct. Next. Sapporo Diagnostic Criteria is
Pass.
diagnostic. Next. What is the full form of COVID-19?
Coronavirus disease.
Correct. Next. 40 scoring is an excellent way to diagnose.
False.
Correct. Next.
Pass.
Next. Which of the following syndromes relate to DVT? Stockholm, restless leg, economy class,
Pass.
business class. Next. Porcine intestines collected in the slaughterhouses is actually used to make this anticoagulant.
Heparin.
Correct. Next. What is this instrument used
Pass.
to separate? Next. B12 is expressed in picograms. How much is picograms? 10 raised to
Pass.
minus what? Next. Name the receptor where tisagenlector.
P2 I12 receptor.
Correct.
P2
Next.
I12.
Next. That's it. How many correct? How many wrong?
5 correct, 0 incorrect.
Okay, that's good. So he's got 50 points. 50 points. So that's a whopping lead. But there is 2 more to go. Soumya is at 120, and before that, Jaswantini has a few more attempt to open the score. Next slide. Okay, Jaswantini, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Keep your please keep it unmuted so that there is no delay in the responses. Your time starts now. The city marked red is associated with thrombosis.
Pass.
Next. Name the clinical sign. Related tetany due to hypocalcemia and thrombosis are the same. What is that sign?
Church-Tuck sign and
Wrong. Incorrect. Next slide. What's the full form of TFPI, which is included in the physiological inhibitor of coagulation?
tissue factor pathway inhibitor.
Correct. Next slide. Warfarin does not appear to be excreted in breast milk and therefore safe to be given in breastfeeding.
True.
Correct. I am synthesized in the liver. I cleave 1 milligrams factor. My deficiency causes.
Pass.
Adam study. Next. Which of the following hemolytic anemias is commonly associated with thrombosis?
Sickle cell.
Correct. Next. What is the theme for this year's World Thrombosis Day?
Is it
So
I forgot. Eyes open.
You are there. I'm afraid I won't be able to grant that. That was
Eyes
good.
open.
Eyes open to thrombosis. Very good. But I am afraid I won't be able to grant that. So how much is it, Mridul? How much is the score now?
3 correct, 1 incorrect.
3 correct, 1 incorrect. So you would get 20 points there. Okay, Soumya.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you
Hello?
are audible.
Yes.
Let us go to the final round of this final participant. Okay, final round, final participant, and after this, it is declaring the results. Okay, Tirth, can you have the next slide? Okay, ready, Soumya?
Yes, sir.
Your time starts now.
Pass.
Next. Padua
Pass.
score. Next. What's the full form of NET in relation to COVID?
Neutrophil extracellular traps.
Correct. Next slide. Phlegmasia rubra dolens is what you see.
True.
Incorrect. It is cerula dolens. Next. I reside in soluble form in plasma. My conversion is to be active insoluble, responsible for clot. I am important in DIC. I am also an acute phase reaction. Who am I?
D-dimer.
Incorrect. Fibrinogen. Next. Which of the following hematological is commonly associated with thrombosis?
APML.
Correct. Next.
No, sir. Pass.
October 13th. Next. What is this instrument in play?
Pass.
TEG. Next. What do you call a number followed by 100 zeros?
No, sir. Pass.
Time's up. I'm afraid that was Google. Google 100 by zeros. Okay, so you want to take a shot at this answer, since it is the last one and the last part, and as they accumulate the scoring there. This drug was earlier isolated from salmon sperm and is currently produced by recombinant technology. It is an antidote to one of the anticoagulant agents. What is this drug?
No, sir, I don't know, sir.
Protamine sulfate.
That's right. Okay, some of you are answering that. That's good. Okay, so Mridul, what's the score? Final tally for Soumya?
So 2 correct, 2 incorrect, so 0.
Okay, so you're back to 120 and we do not have a tiebreaker. So that's really okay. So that's great. So 3 cheers to Aruneshwar and 3 cheers to Saravanan for coming second. And closely followed by Soumya, Jayakrishna and Jaswantini. That was wonderful. We enjoyed it. And all the best and congratulations to the finalists there. And we have a few more slides to go on. I would like to invite Dr. Pankaj and Dr. Reena, who were the mentors for some of the quiz masters here, to discuss some of their thoughts as we wind up and be ready, getting ready for dinner. Next slide, please. So that is thank you from our team members there. And next slide. Before we get into the discussion of the quiz intelligence team and how we went across, I would request Dr. Pankaj Malhotra to say a few words, followed by Dr. Reena Das.
Thank you, Joseph, and I think this is wonderful. I had actually 3 video conferencing today, so but then I chose to join this one because I thought this is the most enjoyable video conference, the quiz, and I'm sure the students who are listening to the quiz and the students who are participating in the quiz and my colleagues who are actually conducting the quiz, we all enjoyed the quiz as much as other people. So this is really wonderful, and as I said last time also, this is hemotainment. That means you are enjoying the hematology in an entertainment. So this is hemotainment, and I would just make one minor correction when we were introducing the participants. So instead of putting the name Mr. or Miss, I would put the name as budding hematologist, right now only. So maybe next time when we conduct the quiz, we will say budding hematologist Saravanan, budding hematologist Aruneshwar. So something like that. So thank you so much, Joseph, for holding this quiz. And this is actually, our dream. And I am, very much thankful to Joseph, who is actually, conducting the quiz and supervising this. Thank you so much, Joseph, and rest of the team members. Thank you so much.
Over to you, Dr. Reena. Thank you, Dr. Pankaj. Reena, looking forward to hearing.
Yeah. Thank you so much for, involving us also. And it's not just them. I think we were the main gainers, and they're so bright. It's so enjoyable to see them, such bright faces, and they're able to answer so many things. We were not so good as you all. I can assure you that it is you all are much better than what we were at your stage, and it's extremely encouraging to see that you're answering so beautifully. It's really a pleasure to that you all have studied so much for a small topic, and just MBBS students, I think wonderful. So I think you have a very long way to go and a very bright future. And best of luck, all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Your mentoring to your students, DM students, actually worked out well. Both of them did really well. And before we wind up, I would like to introduce the backdrop people who have worked really hard on this. We were some of the quiz squads and my residents. I will come back to them later. I would want all of you to put on your cameras as you are there. Pavitra, Pujita, Ketan, and Harpreet. So that's the quiz. That's the team which we have. That is the Dr. Pujita in the front. So that is just. Can you go back on that picture, please? I want two pictures to be shown, which is shown just now. Tirth, can you go back on this? No, the next picture which you showed. No, the next picture. That was supposed to come in the end. Okay, so we have it a little behind now. So that's Pujita, Pavitra. Just before we started the quiz, Mridul took this photograph and we sent it to the team, and that's a happy picture, and that's a Christmas at the background. That is in front of our transplant unit. So can you go one slide behind now? Okay, so that's a quiz intelligence team at the background. They were all working very hard. A lot of preparations over the last few days. Computer technology to be sorted out, coordination, paperwork, Google Sheets, Google Forms, survey forms, all of them. So that is one from one corner onwards. That is Chandan, who is sitting on the left of us. Then there is Kiran. Then there is Soumya. Then Mridul there. And she did a lot of work on coordinating with the candidates and getting the scores organized. And that is Mrs. Asha. That's our operations manager, who is very prompt and very spick and span in getting things organized. And that is Ruth, our physician assistant. So Kiran and Soumya and Ruth are physician assistants. And we have Chandan, who's in one of our projects. He's the man behind the technology there. And go back, and I would bow. Go back one more slide, please. So I think the sequence got a bit disorganized there. I was actually telling my friend the amount of knowledge which these MBBS students have scored. I don't think we would have scored this score, like Dr. Reena was sharing, so much. They have done brilliantly, and 35 to 49. I really don't know how they managed to get so much of score, and of course they were answering almost like BM residents. So I'm really proud and very happy. We have a bright future ahead. The more important thing, if one of us get any hematological diseases, we have many people to fall back on, right? And the advances will come very soon to the country. So that's a big bow from our team members, and thank you so much for being with us and being with us throughout this time. Have a great dinner. Okay. Sorry. I should have said this. The Mice Ideas team are brilliant. I'm really sorry. The slide control is not with me. That is why this problem is happening. I'm not justifying myself. Mice Ideas, Tirth has been wonderful. It is led by Rajesh in their team, and we actually progressed from last year. Lot of minute changes, lot of time spent in coordinating this, how to get the people in, out, all of this like a stage show. It's almost like a drama or a movie. Coordination at this time when we had to do this. So all of them were brilliant. We had Kalpesh and we had Tirth actually coordinating with us mostly in this time. So Mice Ideas gave us the support, and of course this could not have been done without the support of the sponsors. We had Viatris, MCure and Dr. Reddy's team supporting us through this in a short notice we have had. So we need to continue to have the energy to continue in the subsequent years, and I hope more volunteers will come and more students will join up, DM students will join up to continue this program. Anybody else wants to say something? More than happy. Any of our quiz squad wants to reflect on something in this time, I'll be more than happy. Even Dr. Pankaj and Dr. Reena, if you want to say a few more things before we wind up, I'll be more than happy.
Do you want to announce the next quiz?
So we thought we will discuss that over dinner tonight. So, okay. So I don't want to impose on the topic, but let us have a thorough discussion after the dinner, and we'll come back and announce. We now have a website form from Google Sites. We have created ourselves only, and we will keep on posting there, and we have more addresses and emails. We will keep communicating with them.
I would say that we can say that we would be holding a quiz, but the topic maybe we can announce later.
Yeah. Good night then from all of us.